The Zintharian research vessel Enlightened Pursuit drifted in the debris field, its sensor rays scanning the wreckage with methodical precision. Lead xenoarchaeologist Velkoth manipulated the holographic display with his three-fingered appendages, zooming in on the largest piece of debris, a human warship that had met its end in this forgotten corner of space 3 cycles ago. "Commander," Velkoth's translator crackled, "the hull composition is unusual, primitive alloys by our standards, yet the structural integrity patterns suggest something far more sophisticated in application." Commander Thesrak clicked her mandibles thoughtfully. "Secure a specimen. The Council will want a full analysis of these humans and their technology." The Zintharians had encountered humanity's transmissions years before crude radio waves that painted a picture of a violent, fractured species barely holding together on a single world. When humanity finally achieved faster-than-light travel, the galactic community had watched with amused condescension. Another primitive species stumbling into the cosmos, destined to learn their place among the established powers. But then came the border wars. The aggressive Krell Dominion had tested humanity's resolve, expecting easy conquest. Instead, they found something that sent shockwaves through known space. Humans fought back with a ferocity that defied all projections. Now, 3 months after that first engagement, the Zintharian Empire wanted answers. Dr. Nova Chen stood in the sterile white laboratory aboard the ZRS Scientific Triumph, staring at the human warship fragment suspended in a containment field. The Zintharians had been surprisingly polite when they'd requested her expertise. As one of humanity's leading materials scientists, she'd been invited to participate in their analysis. Translation: they wanted to know what made human ships so devastatingly effective. "Dr. Chen." Velkoth approached, his crystalline eyes reflecting the specimen's dull gray surface. "We have completed our preliminary scans. The results are confusing." Nova raised an eyebrow. "Confusing how?" "Your armor plating is inferior to our composite shielding by every measurable metric. Lower tensile strength, higher mass, more vulnerable to energy weapons. Yet in combat, your vessels withstand punishment that would vaporize our ships." His translator couldn't quite hide the frustration in his tone. How a slight smile played at Nova's lips. "Have you analyzed the internal structure yet? We were about to begin deep layer scanning. Would you care to explain what we'll find?" "Redundancy," Nova said simply. "Your ships are built on the principle of perfection, every system optimized, every component the absolute best it can be. One unified whole, as any rational species would design." Velkoth agreed. "Human ships are built on the principle of survival through chaos." Nova walked to the control panel, pulling up a schematic sheet uploaded earlier. "This fragment, it's from the UHS Defiant, a Mercury-class destroyer. She took 17 direct hits in her final engagement. Want to know how many of those would have been instantly fatal to a Zintharian vessel?" Velkoth's skin shifted to a pale blue uncertainty. Nova had learned. "How many?" "All of them." The research team gathered around as Nova highlighted the armor cross-section. "We don't build ships that can't be damaged. We build ships that refuse to die. Behind this primitive armor plating are 16 layers of redundant systems. If the main reactor is hit, 3 backup reactors kick in. If the bridge is destroyed, there are 4 auxiliary command centers. If the weapons array is vaporized, manual firing systems engage." She zoomed into a specific section. "See these conduits? They look inefficient, don't they? Winding paths when a straight line would be more logical." "Wasteful design," agreed another researcher. "Survivable design," Nova corrected. "A single penetrating hit on a Zintharian ship severs primary systems. The same hit on a human ship. We root around it. We keep fighting. We don't stop." Velkoth was quiet for a long moment. "This philosophy, it extends beyond ship design, doesn't it?" Nova met his crystalline gaze. "You want to know why you should be worried? It's not because our ships are better. They're not. It's because we've spent our entire evolutionary history fighting each other, our environment, disease, extinction events. We learned that perfection is fragile. Adaptability endures." Albie Morrison, captain of the UHS Unbroken Will, received the encrypted transmission 3 days later. The young officer read the report twice, then a third time, before calling his XO to the bridge. They know, he said quietly. Handing over the datapad. Commander Sarah Okonkwo scanned the Zintharian analysis, her expression darkening. They've reverse-engineered our design philosophy. Velkoff's report to the Zintharian Council recommends complete restructuring of their military doctrine. That's not the part that worries me. Albie said, pulling up another section. Read the conclusion. Okonkwo's eyes widened. Recommendation: avoid military conflict with humanity at all costs. Human warships are not designed to win battles, they are designed to ensure their opponents lose. The psychological impact of fighting an enemy that refuses to die cannot be overstated. Humanity does not build weapons of war. They build monuments to survival and clad them in weapons. Albie leaned back in his chair. Nova's briefing did exactly what Command hoped. The Zintharians wanted to understand how we fight. Now they do, and it terrifies them, because they realize we don't fight to win, Okonkwo said slowly. We fight until there's nothing left to fight with, and sometimes not even then. Albie pulled up combat footage from the Defiant's last stand. The ship, gutted and bleeding atmosphere, had continued firing even as it broke apart. Its final railgun shot had eliminated the Krell flagship's bridge. That's what makes humans dangerous, not our technology, our refusal to accept defeat. Across the galaxy, in the Zintharian Council chambers, Velkoff presented his findings. The assembled leaders listened in growing horror as he explained what humanity's primitive technology really represented. They are not an advanced species pretending to be primitive, Velkoff concluded. They are a primitive species that weaponized survival itself. Every human ship is a statement. We have endured worse than you can imagine, and we are still here. The Council voted unanimously. The border with human space would be reinforced not for invasion, but for containment. Trade routes would be established. Diplomatic channels opened, because the Zintharians, despite all their advanced technology and superior firepower, had learned a fundamental truth. You cannot defeat an enemy who has already decided that. Defeat is not an option. And humanity, forged in the fires of 1,000 extinctions and reborn from each one, had made that decision long before they ever reached the stars.